This is a mini lecture on the laws of demand and supply, so let's take law of demand first. The observation is that as the price of a product or service goes up, that is followed by the quantity demanded of that good or service going down. And as the price of the product or service goes down, the quantity demanded of that good or service goes up. So the relationship between price and quantity demanded is inverse, as you can see, or indirect. As one variable moves up, the other moves down, and vice versa. A demand schedule is the list of theoretically possible prices associated with various quantities demanded. So in this example, this made-up example, hypothetical example, we'll say that at a price of $0 per unit, 10, if they were giving it away free, 10 units would be purchased or taken off the market. At $1, as price goes up, you can see our quantities would start to fall, reflecting the law of demand. So let's say at a price of 4, that is the price that prices all consumers out of the market, so 0 quantity demanded. The visual depiction of a demand schedule is called a demand curve. It's reflecting that inverse relationship that we just talked about. And it's downward sloping, and we also, by convention, put the price of the product on the vertical axis and the quantity demanded on the horizontal axis. So if you just step back and look at this, a demand curve, any demand curve, is a model of the patterns of consumer behavior. There's a tendency for consumers in this market, or any market really, to behave in this fairly stable and predictable way. Now the law of supply is a little bit different. It says that as the price of a product goes up, that is followed by the quantity supplied by producers also going up. And as the price of a good falls, the quantity supplied by producers also falls. So the relationship between price and quantity supplied is direct or positive. The variables move in the same direction. There's also a supply schedule, and using our same price, this is a list of various possible prices, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And the quantities supplied in this market, we're going to say, just made up, this is hypothetical. Let's say at a price of 1, 4 units would be brought to market. At a price of 2, 6 units. At a price of 3, 8 units, and so on. At a price of 4, 10 units, and so on. So that's reflecting the law of supply, meaning that price and quantity supplied move in similar directions, depending on how we read the supply schedule. Now, the supply schedule is an upward sloping phenomena reflecting the law of supply. I'm just going to draw it in. And it's good to get in the habit of labeling that supply and that demand curve. The demand curve is in that lighter color. And notice something in our made-up numbers here, our fictitious numbers, hypothetical numbers. They intersect at a price of 2. At a price of 2, both the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied is 6. So the supply curve, the black curve, is a model of the patterns of producer behavior. We also saw in this slide that there's something called market equilibrium, the intersection of the supply curve and the demand curve. And I'm going to label my axes, the price axes and the quantity axes. And recall that we had a 6 and a 2. Or was it? Let me go back, check, make sure. Yeah. So that's a very special price. That 2 brings into balance the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded. So for market equilibrium, we can think of that as a tendency, like a buoy in the ocean. It's never perpendicular to the waves, let's say, because of the action of the waves. But there is a tendency, assuming a perfectly calm sea, a tendency for that buoy to be perpendicular to the level of the water. Similarly, or metaphorically, there's a tendency toward equilibrium to balance the quantity demanded with the quantity supplied.